is involved right now in this bridge collapse under the
I
direction
don't
of
give
President
coffee,
Biden,
I give
and at
tea,
the
my
request of Governor
dear.
Moore, who's declared a state of emergency.
And
Walk
you
these
mentioned,
streets without
Governor
no
Moore, and we're waiting,
fear.
hearing from him, but this is quite an undertaking in
Give
his
you
first term,
news,
and
they seem
quite
to
likely a defining
lose.
moment in his term as
I'm the
governor.
DC
Yes,
Frenchman in Washington,
He's got to
DC.
respond to the emergency as they're doing right
Whoa,
now.
I'm the
Quite
Frenchman.
adequately so from
I'm
everyone
the
that we have
DC
heard from there
Frenchman.
on the
I'm the
scene.
Frenchman
But at the
in
same time, he's got to take a
DC.
look at transportation here
Good
in the
evening,
state
guys.
of
I'm bringing
Maryland.
you this
And I think
from
it'll probably open up even
NBC
more discussion
News
and conversations
this
about
morning.
infrastructure all throughout the
Baltimore
state.
News
It's been a problem and an
report,
issue that
live
the
NBC News.
states have been dealing with for a very long
I
time.
want to show y'all we had the
everyone that
Key
you
Bridge
possibly
here this
know
morning.
has some concern about a pothole somewhere, from a pothole all the way to a bridge like this. So there are
Get
some
ran into
concerns
by
that
a
will be
boat.
addressed.
Good evening,
There has
good
been
morning,
some federal
guys. Good
funding
morning, good
for
morning, good morning.
infrastructure. We're seeing some of the results of that right now throughout Baltimore.
Let's see what's going on
It's
here.
frustrating to people because they don't want to be driving around and be stopped on the construction zone,
Right.
but it's obviously a necessary evil in order to make things better. And right now, especially now, we're talking about this is a massive, massive undertaking. And I think it's going to also launch a discussion, as we heard from Dr. F.A. from Morgan State University, about making bridge safer, if that's possible.
It should have been made safe, guys. I
And
go
we're
over
going to
this
go back to that
bridge.
now. Let's take another live look down at the
I've
location
been
where
over
this
this
news
bridge.
conference should be happening pretty
bridge is
soon. The
dangerous.
media has been gathering here. This is a national
Let's see
and
what's going
international
on.
story at this point. As I've indicated,
A
I'm
national
hearing from
and historic
reporters,
moment.
correspondents from the White House.
Rest in
We
peace
got
to all the
text message
people on the
from,
bridge this morning.
A couple of White House correspondents
They lost their lives.
who have been watching our coverage this morning, and we've been keeping them informed as well as they are monitoring the things on a federal level as well.
Are we checking back in with Mike Helm?
WJ.
Checking with Mike Helm right now, who
News,
has been giving us a number of
NBC.
points of perspective on this entire situation. Mike?
Well, you mentioned one of the latest big updates is that the NTSB will hold a news conference and has a go team here on the scene. We know a number of federal agencies are here assisting in this
This is for all the people who
investigation.
missed this
The ship
morning.
only traveled for some
I'm gonna put
30
it on a
minutes
little
before
later.
it collided with the Key Bridge and just blocked off all traffic and caused the bridge to collapse.
And
We'll
Dude
talk
Road,
to you
if you
about
ever
the data showing the latest
wanna
inspection
put
of the
a
bridge. It was
commercial
in
on
fair
somebody's stuff,
condition,
this
rated a
is the Dude
6
Road, guys.
out of 9. There was a little bit of deterioration or some concern in the score for the reinforced concrete pillars that held up the bridge, but they still passed the federal inspection. We've been looking through that data. And right now, we don't have any updates on the search and rescue efforts other than 2 people were pulled from the water and they're still looking for
Frederick
others, and they're
Douglass
using a
Bridge.
lot of technology, including sonar and infrared.
Has
We
cracks
just saw
in it
a boat,
already, guys,
travel
right now.
Through here,
I did a
looked like a
report on
rescue
that
crew, but
last
still
year.
an active scene over there,
If you look at my
more toward
Frederick
the Anne Arundel
Douglass
County side of
Bridge
the bridge
crash
right now.
reports.
Still incredible
people
to look at this
3 people who ran
and think
over the
about
bridge,
what was there. And
supposedly.
for so many, this was
On
part
that
of their
bridge.
lives. They traveled on this bridge every single day, and it's hard for people to believe that it's
30,000
not
cars
here
cross over
anymore,
this
and to
bridge.
look out over the water,
Trailers, tractor
and,
trailers,
you know,
everything.
think about the
Families, people
reality
going
of
back
that,
and forth
and
to school,
think about
work.
the Key Bridge in the past tense.
There it goes,
There are a number
guys.
of moving parts,
Look at
search and rescue
Look at
being a
this.
priority, but also
Look at that.
this investigation. There's a lot we don't
Can
know.
you imagine the car on
the
that
Coast Guard
right there,
says
guys?
that the ship lost propulsion, and it looks like the ship may have lost power. At the last
That would be
update, they had
devastating.
yet to interview
Devastating.
the captains on board. There were 22 crew members on board the Dolly. No one was injured. The ship had recently traveled to New York, Panama, and Norfolk, Virginia. It was just beginning a 27-day voyage to Sri Lanka and leaving the port of Baltimore. So, you know, a lot of, we're learning more about the ship, but what everyone wants to know is, you know, what caused this? What exactly went wrong? And at this early stage,
What
we
went
just don't
wrong?
have
I
those
can tell you
answers.
what went wrong.
Perhaps the NTSB
I can tell you
will be able
guys
to
what
provide
went wrong.
some limited information. We've got
I
a
used
number
to
of federal
work on the
agencies
Spirit of Washington
investigating
myself
here, but those
as a deckhand,
answers will likely
trying
take
to strike
weeks,
myself
if not
up.
months. And then there's also the
And somebody
planning
wasn't
for a new
paying
bridge,
attention.
and a lot of those discussions are very preliminary at this point. Maybe haven't
Because
even
when I
started.
used to
Oh, but most definitely, and of course, we are hoping that this next
guys.
news conference will give us even more insight into what exactly happened and how could this have possibly happened. A lot of people are asking that question this morning.
When I was on the Odyssey,
we're
up
talking
in
about a
Washington,
massive
D.C.
ship, a lot of weight, and
You used to have to
clearly we
call out
saw
the-
that there was smoke coming from there.
how many feet you were
and this may
beside
be just a terrible tragedy.
pillars of the bridge.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, we know that this is obviously impacting your morning commute.
One
A lot of
person
people
standing
feel out
on
on the
each
road,
side,
so
but I
let's check
see
back
this
in
was
with
a
Amy
cargo
Foster
ship, so it
for
wasn't
any detours that might be necessary.
one person
Angela.
on one side
Yes,
and one person
Cena,
on
we
the
have
other
been following
side.
this all morning, of course, as
Stop
you know,
moving.
and we've been monitoring the
None of that.
detours with this bridge collapse. Now, for folks who normally travel 695 through that Dundalk area, you're going to run into a detour. Those are just some of the secondary roads that we were
And I hope I
suggesting
don't
that
get a
you take.
copyright.
But
I'm
if you
just
are on that side,
reporting
Peninsula
this morning when I
Expressway
woke up. I
is
woke
going
up
to
this
be
morning
your
myself
detour
about
route. You'll be detoured off of
3
the
o'clock,
inner loop of
but
695
uneasy
to the
feeling this
Peninsula
morning here in
Expressway.
DC.
On the
And this is
outer
what
loop,
was
as you
going
head
on.
through Anne Arundel County,
You
it
a
is
real
Maryland
news
to
person.
the Arundel Expressway. Actually, it's Maryland to the Arundel
Feels it in
Expressway.
his heart
They'll
that something's
detour
going
you
on.
there to southbound. They're also using Maryland to, by the way, Ritchie Highway as a detour for some other people who get there before you get to the Arundel Expressway. In the meantime, of course, our major alternate route is going to be the Harbor Tunnel. We want you to the Harbor Tunnel and Fort McHenry Tunnel, but especially the
That's
Fort
gonna be for
McHenry
a
Tunnel
while, too,
because the
folks.
Harbor Tunnel, of course, doesn't have as much height and width as the Fort McHenry Tunnel. We made it through the morning rush in a decent fashion. I'll use decent because we didn't have as much traffic flow as we would normally have due to spring break is what I am thinking. But so far into the midday, we are of course expecting more backups on these roadways. As I mentioned, some of these secondary roads for those traveling through the Dundalk and through the Anne Arundel side
Tell
of
them, darling.
I-695. Now, of course, we mentioned your detour
Rest in
routes.
peace, people.
During the morning
They
rush,
just
we had
passed away.
Maryland 10, the Arundel Expressway, and the Peninsula Expressway with a lot of extra congestion. Right now, we're not doing too bad, but keep in mind, if you take that Harbor Tunnel, you may have MDTA officials there at that scene stopping some of those
Need
tractor
shade this
trailers that
morning,
are
guys.
trying to get
Gotta
through.
get all
That's a
on
look
camera.
at First Alert traffic.
Angela Foster, thank you very much for keeping us up to date. What a job that must be to try to find alternate routes for people on such a busy highway. But as Angela pointed out earlier, it's spring break, so
I'm gonna
a
go
lot
out
of
there a
passenger
little
cars
later
hopping
on.
up, not as many
See if I can
involved.
bring
And
out
of course, those people who would normally use it, if they're on spring break, they have a little extra time. They
In
can
depth.
go another way.
And now let's check back in with Amy Kawada in the Hawkins Point area. Amy, we've seen a lot of people redirected and sort of turned around where you're at as well.
Yeah. Many people have been redirected, but throughout the morning we have seen many crews, first responders make their way through here. A lot of rescue boats, a lot of underwater recovery units as well. We are now going into about hour 8 of search and rescue efforts right now. Of course, the focus is on
Zach
recovery
Ryan
efforts. This unfolded
concert
around
goers
1:30 this
didn't
morning. It is
get
now
into this right here.
a little past 9:30, so we are really, the clock is ticking. We're working against time
There was a
right
lot of
now
traffic in town
as
last
crews are
night.
trying to recover
That
as
Zach
many
Ryan concert.
people, survivors, bodies possibly in the water still. At last check, we were told around 6:30 that 2 people have been rescued. It was one person who actually refused treatment and is expected to be okay. Another who was taken to a local trauma center in serious condition. And at the time, he said they were searching for up to 7 people. So we're not
that's
sure.
all.
That number was fluctuating throughout the morning. They said that is
Thank you, God.
something that is fluid, and they were hoping to give us a better idea of exactly how many people we understand could be in the water still right now, or an update on really if there's any more survivors that we can update and bring some better news for you guys as we've been monitoring the situation very closely for you guys. But
we had a horrible
we have been seeing, again,
ship.
multiple assets, crews. This is a multi-state-wide
The bridge
effort.
crashed
We've
today,
seen
guys, this morning.
counties as far as PG County, Howard
1
County,
o'clock
of course,
last
Baltimore
night.
City and Arundel County
been
arrive on scene to assist in these
maybe
efforts. We've
9.5
seen
hours
helicopters
now.
in the air. Coast Guard said they have about 3 small boats out there assisting in this search effort. just so shocking to take in. You see those images of the video and the pictures of what's left of Key Bridge. It's this historic structure that's been instilled in this community for nearly 50 years, 47 years. And just an eerie timing because about 3 days ago, we just celebrated the 47th birthday of the Key Bridge opening into this community. Thousands of people travel this road every single day. Again, you mentioned people are taking detours. People are asked to stay away, stay clear from this area, of course, as first responders and crews continue their efforts on recovering the survivors' remaining bodies. We understand the sonar and infrared technology detected multiple vehicles in the water. We're told possibly a tractor trailer was on the bridge when the collision happened and the collapse followed, and a construction crew was also on the bridge. So a lot of efforts underway right now, massive response, and we've also seen a lot of community members arrive out here just to take it all in, and even some taken so back that they've arrived in tears. We are seeing some sort of motorcade coming in through here, so we will monitor and see what is happening closely, but we see about 4 cars arrive heading towards the Key Bridge area. We're, just to give you guys a vantage point, we're about a mile south from any access to the Key Bridge, so we do not have any visuals from here, but just down the road where Alex Glaze has been stationed, he has seen just the devastating image of the destruction of the collapse of the bridge. So he has been talking to community members there. I'm also talking to community members here, just kind of keeping a close eye on the units that are making their way in and out. We've seen, I mean, countless amounts of crews make their way here. But again, we are expecting to hear an update from officials any minute now. Governor Moore is on scene assessing the damage and just getting the latest from officials. So we're expecting to hear from him, and we will bring you that press conference and any other further developments throughout the morning, of course, on air and online on WJZ.com. But for now, I'm Amy Kawada for WJZ. We'll send it back to you guys.
Amy, thank you very much. As she indicated, we're now awaiting word from the governor, who's expected to hold a news conference. We do know that he has met with emergency personnel, as well as some of the workers who were in the area at the time of the accident, and we're expecting him to give us a better update in terms of what the state is doing. Likely, he was probably a part of one of those motorcades that came through there just a moment ago, and heading to that location, which you see right there with all the microphones and cameras for the news conference, expected to take place at any moment now.
Until then, though, we're going to check in with Alex Glaze, who, as Amy said, is just down the road from her on the Anne Arundel County side of the bridge. Your vantage point, Alex, is the backyard of people who have that view of the bridge.
Give us a view. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, Sina, by now, most people who are waking up and digesting this news have seen that video of the ship going into the bridge, but from where I'm standing, you can actually see the devastating aftermath of that ship and the bridge in the water. And all morning I've been speaking with people in this community and the people that have just had to come to this area to see it for themselves, because it is just hard to believe that something like this could actually happen. And I've spoken with a number of people who are still working right now to figure out what this means. And, you know, everyone is thinking about the lives that potentially have been lost or definitely impacted by this. And we're seeing helicopters overhead as search rescue efforts continue on. But, you know, this is going to have lasting impacts in this area. I spoke with one gentleman who works at the Port of Baltimore and did not want to go on camera with me, but said that, you know, he is clearly not working today. He's not sure, to be quite honest, when the next time he will be working, because he can't imagine anything going in or out of the port for quite some time. But as I mentioned, Vic and Sina, all of this so secondary right now as we wait for that update from the governor and other officials about those rescue efforts, and we're just continuing to think about those people that have been impacted by this governor's
report. I want to hear.
Alex, you talked to a woman just a little while ago who came down. She was walking her dog. Give us a better sense of what people there are saying this morning as they come and they see this for the very first time.
Well, I see to mention, I'm actually in somebody's backyard, and there's
Dude, give me a shout out,
who
Dude.
look out and can see this bridge
Hit me up,
every
Dude,
day. And right now, the
Dude,
reality is they're waking up, and that bridge is no longer there,
Mr.
and
French
they're
up.
still trying to wrap their mind around
This
what has
is Dude
happened
Road,
and what
guys.
this really means, Vic.
Dude Road.
Okay, Alex,
For
thank you very
dude.
much. Of course, it's going to take a while for a lot of people to be able to process what they have experienced and seen here this morning, and the fact that this icon that was part of their lives every single day is no longer there.
And we're continuing to get in reaction from some of our local leaders. Senator Chris Van Hollen says he is now heading to Baltimore and that he's been in touch with state, local, and federal officials. He says, quote, "We are quickly working to address this situation, and I know, as always, Baltimore will come together united to face this tragedy."
And the FBI's Baltimore office says there is no specific and credible information to
This is
suggest
the way
any
you
ties
wear
to
it in the
terrorism
morning
at this
time
time.
whenever you wake
The
up.
investigation is ongoing. The FBI
Early in the
Baltimore
morning, you
will
get
continue to support
your
our
tea
partners at the
from the
local,
DC
state,
Frenchman
and
show.
federal levels.
You get it in your Dude
Because
Road.
as we mentioned, there was a pilot
Females
on
can wear it
board
too.
assisting the captain
But they have to come
to
over
navigate these
and get
waters,
in.
which is standard operating procedure. And clearly, based upon what we've been able to see, what we've been hearing, is there's something catastrophic happened on board that ship. That there may have been a power outage or power failure, or there may have been
would hope
multiple
so.
failures, and causing that ship to lose control and to eventually just crash right into that major pylon that supported the bridge and causing the bridge to collapse within seconds.
That's one of the
Yeah,
big
so-
questions that we're hoping to get answered when we hear from authorities pretty shortly. In the meantime, though, we do want to hear from CBS senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve, just giving more perspective on this whole incident.
I think there are a couple of impacts here. One, you have about 31,000 vehicles cross that bridge every day. It is one of the three ways you get across Baltimore Harbor. The other two are
31,000,
tunnels.
guys.
The bridge is part of the Baltimore Beltway 695. There's also the Port of Baltimore, the nation's 9th busiest port. Handles a
degrees out
lot
here
of
right now this
vehicles
morning.
coming in and out. There's also
It's
a cruise
54
terminal
degrees.
there. It's unclear
At
how
9:45.
accessible that port is going to be because of what happened here.
AM.
You had a cargo ship weighing more than 155,000 tons go into this bridge. This was an enormous ship.
Chris Van Cleve from CBS News putting into perspective the size of the ship and the enormity of all of this.
Right. 9th busiest port in the country. It's going to have a major impact, as we've been saying, not just locally, but nationally. And
we're talking about billions of dollars coming in and out of the port pretty much every single day. They take all of those container ships that come in and out. They're fully loaded, as we pointed out earlier, with cargo, not to mention the cargo that is in warehouses and stored up. The number of vehicles that come and go from this port, and the fact that up and down the East Coast, there's very little to compare to the size and the enormity of the business that is done here in Baltimore.
And I think we mentioned earlier, too, in terms of some of those stats, 59 million tons, or 52, million tons of foreign cargo. That was the total amount coming in and out of the Port of Baltimore in 2023, amounting to $80.8 billion in foreign cargo value there.
11.7 million tons of general cargo coming through. That's your little soap pads and your curtains and all those other things that come from other countries that you have in your household right now. A lot of it probably came through that port right there.
We were talking about the jobs. We've been 15,000 jobs in the Port of Baltimore, more than 100,000 connected to the Port of Baltimore. It's just an incredible reach.
And it just it's like a spider web because the tentacles will continue to reach out in terms of the impact for Baltimore.
Once they clean all the scrap up, you
hopefully
bring stuff back
they'll be able to come to
to
some resolution pretty soon, so to minimize the amount of impact financially it's going to have on the people here in the city.
Again, that's one of the questions we're hoping that our state and federal authorities will be able to answer when we get that check in with that news conference pretty shortly. We know Governor Moore is en route, and we'll be hearing from him shortly as well. So,
and a couple of
where's Governor Moore when you need him,
we know
man?
that there are a number of
I'm from
alternate routes
DC,
that
but
are
I
in
want
place
him over
right
there now.
A lot of you may be tempted if you have those fancy little drones wanting to go out there and take pictures. Don't do that. Right now is a no-fly zone over the area. Remember, some of the first responders may be using drones as well. We know that we've seen the helicopters out there. As a matter of fact, during one of our live shots, I saw a helicopter was pretty much right over top of the water.
Yeah.
Very low flying, very low. And so we don't want anything to impact what they're doing right now, because the emphasis obviously is on search and rescue. We know that at least 2 vehicles are in the water right now. And we know that at least 2 people have been pulled from the water, one of whom is in the hospital. We're going to go now to Governor Westmore, who is arriving at the site right now, followed
We're
by
gonna check out
the
this
mayor,
interview right here
and
with
we'll
Governor
see Senator
Westmore.
Chris Van Hollen
Hear what he got to say about what's going
on. All of whom will be giving us some additional information. Let's listen in. Governor Westmore.
Thank you all for being here. This morning, our state is in shock. And I want to take this moment to speak directly to the people of our state. To our first responders, I'm in awe of you. I'm in awe of your courage. I'm in awe of your strength. I'm in awe of everything you do for each and every one of us. You saw a crisis, and you said, what can I do to help? And our response teams are doing everything in our power to rescue and recover the victims of this collapse, literally as we speak. People who, as we speak, are out there are divers, our air assets, people who right now are working to save lives, and are doing it because the state asked. And we will update the public as the work continues. To our partners inside and outside of government, I know this has been a long night. We started coordinating immediately after the Key Bridge collapse. We've been standing together every step of the way, from our county leadership, to our city leadership, to our state leadership, to our federal leadership.
Democrat.
And I'm grateful to call each and every one of you not just colleagues, but I'm grateful to call you friends. And to the people of Baltimore, and each and every one of the 6.3 million Marylanders who call our state home. I recognize that many of us are hurting right now. I recognize that many of us are scared right now. And so I want to be very clear about where everything stands. We are still investigating what happened, but we are quickly gathering details. The preliminary investigation points to an accident. We haven't seen any credible evidence of a terrorist attack. Our administration is working closely with leaders from all levels of government and society to respond to this crisis, and not but just by addressing the immediate aftermath, but also by building a state that is more resilient and a state that's more safe. That is our pledge, and that's our commitment, and we're going to keep that commitment. And lastly, to the victims of this tragedy and their loved ones, all of our hearts are broken. We feel your loss. We're thinking of you, and we will always be thinking of you. We pray for the construction workers who are on the Key Bridge, and we pray for everyone who has been touched by this tragedy, and their families, and all of their loved ones. But Maryland, we will get through this, because that is the Maryland spirit, and that's what Maryland is made of. We are Maryland tough, and we are Baltimore strong. So in the face of heartbreak, we come together. We embrace one another, and we come back stronger. That's what we've always done. That's what we'll continue to do. And that's what we're going to get done together. And we're going to pray for Baltimore. And I'd like to turn this over to Senator Van Hollen, who's done a remarkable job, our fellow delegation, in providing support. So thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Governor. As the governor said, we come together. We come together in Baltimore, we come together in Maryland. First of all, our hearts go out to all those who are on the bridge and their loved ones. We pray for them. Our gratitude goes out to the first responders who, as we speak, are out there continuing to conduct search and rescue operations. I want to thank the governor, the mayor, the county executive, all the people gathered here as part of Team Baltimore and Team Maryland. And the federal government is with them as a partner. The Coast Guard, as we speak, is also part of this mission. Coast Guard cutters, Coast Guard aviation assets. I spoke twice today with Secretary of Transportation.
I thought Route 47 was Lords of Trenton.
Oh man, excuse me guys, I didn't know
Give me the password.
that there was gonna be any commercial, but we're gonna talk a little bit while they're doing this right here.
The
We're
comic
gonna
convention was last week.
show the dude
This
robe, we're
is an
gonna show
insurance
me.
convention.
But the deal is with this right here is
You get mascots.
that I don't know how that happened. They said it was an accident. They said the power went out.
you. I'm sorry.
They said the power went out on the boat, and from what I know, yes, it is hard to control the boat if there's no power. It's gonna keep on going. It's gonna keep on floating
Pick your teams.
on the top of the water until it hits something, until something stops it. And I guess the trestles did. Trestles on the bridge stuff. But I went over that bridge a couple of times, Key Bridge, and Key Bridge is so dangerous already. That's a dangerous bridge, guys. A really, really dangerous bridge. It's like going down. It's like going down
Apply now and receive
a mini. You're on a mini bike, and it's looking. You can look over the doggone curb on a mini bike on a freaking on that Key Bridge. Key Bridge has always been dangerous.
Now Len the plumber offers heating help too. With
So
same-day heating
as a boat driver, I probably would have been scared to drive under that bridge too. Wow.
Leadership,
That's what
innovation,
happened.
excellence.
Boat went down.
This is Morgan State,
Just like that
Maryland's
right there.
preeminent public urban research university, home to
That's
more
how the
than
boat went down
140
today.
academic programs, where Morgan students
Key
thrive
Bridge
in the
went down.
classroom, pursue meaningful research, serve their communities, and are
So
inspired
we're
by
taking a
award-winning
commercial
faculty.
break, and we're going to
Develop
talk about the boats.
lifelong
But I used to
professional
drive
skills
boats
in
too.
a
I used to
diverse
drive the Spirit
academic
of
community
Washington.
anchored in
I used to
tradition
drive
and
the
transforming for
Odyssey.
tomorrow.
I used to
Start
drive the
your
Capital
path
League
towards
Leap.
earning your degree today. Choose Morgan, building the future, leading the world.
What was the? What's a couple more? It was one more.
History of greatness.
that I
Your
chose.
challenge starts after you finish.
But I like to end this. They're not going to come back on the scene again.
Victory Olympics.
Well, I'm sure they are, but I don't own the rights to this commercial. This commercial
And go beyond the limits.
is not my commercial, and I'm not gonna deal with it. As we say, I'm not gonna deal with it. I guess we'll take this time to pray for the people on the bridge.
Lots of men have trouble performing their best in
Lord,
bed. For some guys, it's issues
protect
getting hard.
people
For
that's
others,
about to
it's
help
finishing
these,
too quickly. Either way,
people
HIMS
that's
can
under
help.
that water
At
and
4hims.com, you can get clinically proven treatments
help
from
the people
licensed
out
medical
here
providers. All
in the
from the
world
comfort of
to
home, with a
maintain
100%
their
online
day-to-day.
process and free discreet shipping. It's never
Help
been
the
easier.
children.
Get hard, stay hard, and last longer than ever. Get started today
I
with
hope
free
everybody keep
online
their head up
consultation at
after this
4hims.com.
happened right here.
See everything your restaurant can do with tools from
And
Square. Get a POS.
I just don't know what to say
that connects
about
to a
this.
KDS,
It's just
so you can handle orders
hard, for
ASAP.
real.
Reach more customers with
There's
online
nothing to
ordering
say.
and QR codes. Use pocket-sized
The only thing to do is to go and do something. Someone need to do something, but I guess they need
so you
to
can take care of it all.
get a start one of those what you call a GoFundMe for all those people over there on that bridge. That's what they need to do.
Not you again.
Start a GoFundMe.
I can't talk to a doctor about this. It's
We'll start a
embarrassing.
GoFundMe for that.
Zuck Duck?
For the
You're right.
for the people
I bet they deal
over
with
there.
this all the time.
I don't know how to do
What
it,
about Dr. Anderson?
but I'm just telling y'all
Dr.
to
Finley
donate
really puts
to
you
the
at
people on the
ease.
bridge today
And she
over
takes my
at the Key
insurance too.
Bridge.
Let's do it.
You've got more
A
options
bad
than
thing
now.
happened to
Look
them
now.
and to the families. Mourning,
I'm gonna miss you
we're
too.
mourning for the families
We
and
had to
stuff
take out
like
our
that.
old gas heating. That was a
And,
huge project. I was so overwhelmed, so I started contacting people off of Inch
I have
to
never
work
heard
with
this many
people
commercials
that
in
knew
my
what they were
life.
doing. It was a game changer.
I have never
Get
heard
started
that
today
many
at
commercials in my
Angie.com.
life.
Upon his first day of retirement, Marcus Rogers made a contract with
I really
himself.
haven't.
I will never again work
So we're
for
gonna
another
tune
man
out.
or woman, or talk,
And I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in to the
I
DC
laid out my
Frenchman Show
badge,
today
abandoned my corporate
on the
phone
Key
plan,
Bridge
and I'll get a
crash.
new plan with Consumer Cellular, without a contract, without sacrificing cost.
It's right there.
Let's go birds. When freedom called,
Cut it out. We'll just cut it out. Thanks for tuning in to the DC Frenchman Show, guys. You all have a nice evening and a nice morning. We're gonna go mourn those people. Y'all take it easy.